Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 4. Now for the previous couple of chapters, we talk about creativity, we talk about the purpose of art and basic element of art. This chapter will be talking about the principle of design. Now what is design? Design is both the process of organizing visual elements and the product of that process. So what that really means is that in a 2D art such as painting and photography, this organization of the visual element, we actually call it composition. So when an artist is making artwork, he or she is trying to express an idea. He or she is trying to convey something visually. So obviously he or she will be dealing with art elements, basic elements that we have covered like line, shape, colors, and such. And she will need to arrange those elements on her artwork. And such arrangement, such organization is called composition. So there are 7 key principles of design. There's unity and variety, balance, emphasis and subordination, directional forces, contrast, repetition and rhythm, scale and proportion. Now we start with unity and variety. So unity is the appearance or condition of oneness, and variety is in contrast to unity. It provides diversity. So what does that really mean? Now, if we look at this painting by Jacob Lawrence called Going Home, we can see both unity and variety in this particular painting. The unity is found in the way that he frames the picture with the color red. As you start with the left-hand side of the painting, you see the lady that is wearing the red hat. And as your eyes move up to the painting, you see the red luggages on top of the train. And as your eyes move back down to the right-hand side, you see the child in the red dress. And then at the very bottom, you have the red mass that kind of frames the whole painting together in a circle. The color red in this case acts as a unifying factor to tie in everything. Now, variety is easy to see in these pictures. There are a lot of different varieties of colors, varieties of shapes, varieties of implied motions. And also in this painting, what we can see is pattern. Pattern refers to a repetitive ordering of design elements. So in this painting, you can see that there's a repetitive ordering of design elements of the green chairs. So the green chairs makes a pattern in this particular painting. Now, the next principle we'll talk about is balance. Balance is the achievement of equilibrium, in which acting influences are held in check by opposing forces. Now, there are 2 types of balance. There's symmetrical balance, and there's also asymmetrical balance. Symmetrical balance is the near or exact matching of left and right side of a 3D form or a 2D composition. Whereas asymmetrical balance is that various elements are balanced according to their size and meaning around a felt or implied center of gravity. So for example, for symmetrical balance, the Taj Mahal that we have learned about is a very symmetrical building. If you can see, the left side and the right side of the building are near identical. And if you notice, a lot of governmental buildings, monuments, or important historic buildings, they tend to be very symmetrical. It's because when things are symmetrical, it gives a very solemn and very serious feeling and a very grave and grand feelings. So even our White House is a very symmetrical building as well. Now, on the other hand, in 2-dimensional art forms, there are less examples of very symmetrical artwork. But right here, we can see the example in the Holy Place. And this actual artwork is quite interesting. This artwork is made by butterflies, real butterflies. At first glance, you might think that is a painting of some sort or a digital art, but this artist actually sourced out butterflies, and he made this particular artwork by lining butterflies up. And this particular painting really demonstrates the very symmetrical principle in these art. All right, so these 2 are examples of asymmetrical artwork. So what you can see here is that there's asymmetry in both of these paintings. Now you can see the left side and the right sides are not identical, so they're not symmetrical, but yet at the same time, there's a sense of balance. So the painting on the left, you can really see that the arrangement of these people, the composition of the position of these figures really points out that there's a balance in the picture. It almost creates a triangle in the middle of the picture that kind of draws your eyes in. Now, the sculpture on the right here at Venice Beach, California, called Declaration, erected in 1999, you can see that it is, again, asymmetrical. There are two beams pointing up into the sky on the left-hand side, and then there's two beams that's leaning on the right-hand side with one single beam that is secure into the ground. So what you see here is that by using these leaning different beams, the artist is able to create a sense of balance in something that looks tilted, seemingly, but is actually very balanced. All right, the next two principles we got here is emphasis and subordination. So emphasis are areas that draws our attention. So if the area is a spot or a figure, then we call it a focal point. Subordination, on the other hand, are neutral areas of lesser interest that keep us from being distracted from the areas of emphasis. So a good example of this is this particular artwork by Francisco Goya. So what he wants you to do is he wants your attention immediately to the bullfighter and the bull. So then by using darker color and darker shades and thicker lines, he's able to put emphasis and focal point in the foreground of this particular artwork. And by using a lighter color and not as thick brushstrokes, you see that the background is the subordinate, which has lesser emphasis and has lesser value. So this is also an artwork that shows a very strong directional forces example. So directional forces are paths for the eyes to follow, provided by natural or implied lines. So what this means is like there are motions in this particular artwork, and there are directions that these motions draw our eyes to. So you probably start from the left-hand side of the artwork. You're drawn in with the motion of the bull running from the left into the right. And as you go from left to right, you end up with the shadow of the bullfighter. And the shadow of the bullfighter then will bring you up to where the bullfighter actually is. And since the bullfighter is hoisting himself up with a stick and jumping over the bull, then his direction is from right to left, which eventually you go from his head to his arms, to his legs, then to the tip of his toes, then it brings you back to the hind legs of the bull. Then it repeats the cycle. So this helps the viewers to stay in the picture and stay engaged and interested, to look at the picture over and over and over again. Now the next principle is contrast. Contrast is the juxtaposition of strongly dissimilar elements. So what that means is, in this painting you can see Woman with Mirror by Kim McConnell. It's that there's contrast of all these different elements. They're contrasted in color. There's green, red, orange, yellow, blue, and black, and white. And then there is contrast in shapes. There are geometric shapes. There are organic shapes. Then there are contrast in lines. There are curved lines. There are thick lines and thin lines and straight lines. So contrast is really just these opposing forces of elements put together. Next, we'll be talking about rhythm. Now, we touch a little bit about repetition. We touch a little bit about pattern. And rhythm is very similar and very much tie in with pattern and repetition. Rhythm is any kind of movement or structure of dominant and subordinate elements in sequence. So in this particular painting, you can see that by repeating all of these birds against each other, we get a sense of rhythm. There's a movement in their legs. There's movement in their beaks. Now we go to scale and proportion. Scale is the size relation of one thing to another, whereas proportion is the size relation of parts to a whole. Now, what that means is this is scale. Now, you see two flowers, the one on the left and one on the right. And what is interesting is the circle inside these two flowers are actually identical in size. But because they're being put in an environment that is different from each other, we have the illusion that one circle is smaller than the other. So the circle on the left is being placed with a circle that is bigger than itself, so then therefore it appears smaller. But the circle on the right, even though it's actually exactly the same size, is being placed in an environment that is compared to circles that is smaller than itself, so then it appears bigger. So this is called scale relationships. Whereas proportion is shown in Michelangelo's Pieta. So this is a statue of the crucified Christ being carried by Mary, his mother. And so actually how he created this sculpture is that the size of Mary's head and Christ's head is actually the same size. But because he wanted to show the death of Christ and the fragility of Christ's death, that he actually made Mary's body a lot larger than what it actually supposed to be, to kind of show the maternity figure in this particular sculpture. All right, guys, so this is chapter 4. I will see you guys in chapter 5, and happy note taking.